so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Growing Up Hip Hop. This is season 7, episode 5. All right, y'all. So let's get the small scenes out the way. So Sam, we have Lazy Bones and Eric going to Sam's studio, or a studio session with Sam. He lets them know that, he's going to take a step back from being on front stage and become behind the scenes. He feels like he does better being a producer and a writer. He seemed kind of like despondent about it, which is understandable. He then lets them know that, he's going to continue doing his MMA fighting, kickboxing whole thing, but he's also going to open up a food truck. So Eric's like, okay, that's great. That can feed your family. What kind of food you selling? Dude said snow cones. Eric said, pause. What you mean snow cones, bro? And he also played the song for them. The song, they were like, that's a smash hit. They were lying. To me, it was dated. The song was dated. It gave very much like 2006 energy, which I was just kind of like, okay, that's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. But very much 2006 energy that, like, I feel like had that song been released back then, he probably would have had the hit that they were talking about. Sam lets them know that, he's been laying low, trying to stay out of trouble because of his court case. He also lets them know that the police rolled up to the house and I guess he had an AR-15 on him, which I'm like, why do you have that? It still makes no sense to me why any civilian would have that. Like, that type of, like, weapon is supposed to be used in war. Like, the person who created it was meant for, like, it was meant for that. But for you to be like a regular person with that makes no sense to me. So he said, yeah, I'm still trying to stay out of trouble. I don't know about Sam. The thing is like, I can be empathetic to the fact that, when he was talking about, nobody really wants to see me on stage. People just want me to be behind the scenes. And it kind of sucks for him. Like, I'll give him that. Like, if you have this expectation for yourself where you're like, okay, I'm going to be this great rapper, this great artist, and everyone's going to feel me. Everyone's going to enjoy my music, my artistry. And then when you present it to the world, the response is very negative. And it's like, wow. And then you also find out that, like, you do better doing something else. Sweetie, I remember we all think Sweetie is beautiful, and everyone's always like, Sweetie is so amazing at branding herself and being like a marketer, that it was like, that's what she should be doing. Teaching people how to market themselves, how to build social capital where, like, Fortune 500 companies want to invest in you. But she has other plans. She wants to be a musician. And even though it don't slap for us and it don't make sense to us, it makes sense to her. And it's like, you can't really knock somebody with their hustle, because just like, if that's a dream, that's a dream. But I think the reality of, like, growing up is realizing that not all dreams come true, and that's a very harsh and bitter pill to swallow. Very harsh and bitter pill to swallow. So we actually see him with the snow cone business. Tyran and his friend pop up, and he was telling him that you can make like $6,000 I guess monthly off of that. And I was like, that's cute and all, but is it sustainable? That's my only thing. Is it sustainable? We then have JoJo. So JoJo is in LA. He has this other business. I think it was called like 1331. I don't know. Let me not get the line because I don't know. And it's like a marketing business, but it tailors to like cannabis. And his business partner was like rolling up in front of him. I said, okay, sir. Priorities. But he goes and meets with his business partner. His business partner is trying to get him to move to California because he's like, bro, like, cannabis is legal here. It's not legal in New York. And he was like, it's not legal on the east side, but it is, though. It's legal in DC, and it's also legal now in North Carolina. I know I got family down there. They was excited. So it's legal. So I was just like, they could move, but I don't think the type of people that Tanise and JoJo are, they're not going to want to move to like North Carolina. And like DC is a vibe, but you got to be ready for that vibe, So he was like, the business partner was just like, come on, like you should really move out here. It'd be very beneficial for you. And JoJo's whole thing is like he doesn't want to move because he's like, we have so much family support in New York and he doesn't want to lose that. But Tanise is actually like interested in moving to LA. She feels like it would be a better fit for her family. So we then see a scene of Eric and JoJo going to look at homes, but JoJo hasn't told Tanise anything. So he looks at the house. Honestly, from the outside looking in, I was like, okay, this looks like a regular like family home. The interior, liked it but didn't like it. Yeah, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like that marble flooring, like where's white. Like that is going to get messed up, and they have children. I'm a hardwood type of girl. Like I want, I want my hardwood aesthetic. That's what gives me what I need. And I like carpets. Like I can understand like downstairs being hardwood. Like that's how my parents' homes is. It's downstairs is hardwood, upstairs is carpet. And I like that. Upstairs, it ain't nothing to like step on cold floor in the morning. But like I feel like upstairs is like where the bedrooms are, it's homier. Downstairs it still could be homey, but that's where you do the most entertaining. And then if you have spills in the kitchen, it's easier to clean up. But the house was actually nice. The pool was cool. I didn't understand like that whole like not having curtains or having the glass around the shower never makes sense to me, because all that coming down, yeah, no. But for them, the house was actually nice. I think it was like 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. And they were really like, JoJo was like enamored with the house. The situation got kind of dicey where the realtor was basically telling her they had like 5 people already wanting to bid on the home. So he's like, whoa. And then she really had like, I think she said it's 6 because somebody was on the phone giving like a verbal offer. I feel like that was a tactic to get them to do it, but if it wasn't, okay, but if it was, kudos to you, man, because he ends up making an offer. Eric was kind of trying to like force him to do it, in a sense, like egging him on. And I was like, Eric, he hasn't talked to his wife. I get it, in your household, that's what you do, but this is a different situation. Shut the hell up, bro. Shut up. So he makes an offer on the house. We then have a scene of Tanise and Aaliyah going out to hang out and go to like these cute little boutiques in LA. While they're there, Aaliyah basically tells Tanise that like she tired of Eric gambling. Like it's his money, but he always is gambling. He gets into like this zone where he doesn't really want to talk to anybody. He just goes gambling. Sound like he got an addiction, like I said before. That's not healthy. But Tanise is encouraging Aaliyah, saying, you know what, just talk to him. Like, you need to talk to him because it is bothering you. And at the end of the day, that you guys are supposed to be a team. While they're looking at clothes and stuff like that, Aaliyah basically was like, because I think Tanise was like, she needed to lose a little bit more weight before she could put on these outfits. Something like that. To where Aaliyah spills the beans that JoJo made an offer on the house, and Tanise is looking at her, which I don't think Tanise can act, and it looked pretty convincing that she was like, pause, what you mean? What you mean? Are you serious right now? And Aaliyah's like, well, that's what Eric told me that he put down on the house. And I'm pretty sure Eric probably told Aaliyah that like JoJo isn't telling Tanise, it's supposed to be a surprise. But Aaliyah was like, I'm gonna ruin the surprise. Pretty much. So Tanise is pissed. She gets back to their house or their Airbnb that they're staying in while they're down in LA. And she confronts JoJo about it. And JoJo's whole thing is like, he wanted to have that moment. Those moments on TikTok, Instagram, even on Twitter, where people buy homes for like their family members or like their significant others, and then when they're like, oh my gosh, whose house is this? And they're like, it's yours, and it's this whole beautiful moment and yada yada yada. He wanted to do that for her, but Tanise didn't like it, which is understandable, because I'd be like, that's sneaky, and you should have came and spoke to me about it if it was something that was that serious to you. So they talk about it, and JoJo's whole thing is like, we keep saying that we want to move. We've been putting down offers for homes in New York, but we never are getting any, like, nothing's selling for us. Maybe it's a sign from God that we need to move here. And he was like, we're going to do it as a family. I actually really like their relationship, because it does seem like JoJo really loves Tanise and Tanise loves him. And like, he wants to protect and provide for his family. And he pretty much was like, we gonna do this together. He should have said sorry for what he did, because that I'd have been like, you gonna apologize? 'Cause that's sneaky. But she was just like, it's a lot happening all at once. Like, their daughter is about to go to first grade, and she's like, that's so much change. Then they have the little baby, but he was like, we're gonna move as a family. So I was like, that's cute, still sneaky, and I would have an issue with it, but that's just me. All right, y'all. So this segment is gonna be about everybody else. So the episode actually opened up with Brianna talking to Sequoia about pretty much doing like Brianna's Gauntlet. That's what this event that she called Brianna's Gauntlet, where she invited all the women that were in LA to have a sit down so they could hang out and really get to know each other. I actually like the relationship between Brianna and Sequoia because it seems genuine. I also like the fact that Brianna has calmed down, because as someone who's been watching this series since like season 1, like really I got into the season into this show during season 2, but I never really liked Brianna. I just thought she was very like nasty, and she came off very aggressive and mean spirited. But as the seasons continued, especially when it came with the whole Egypt situation, I sided with her because it did seem that she genuinely cared. And then I realized that's Brianna's personality. Like, if she really rides for you, she's gonna put her all into being there for you. And when it's not reciprocated, she doesn't regulate that well of her emotions. But it does seem that she's gotten a lot better, because she's trying to reach out to people. Now, I don't understand how she thought her and Cree was on a level playing field, or they got cool real quick after that situation at the skating ring, because it gave very much like awkwardness. But she wants to extend the olive branch. While she's sitting down, Sequoia pretty much says that she got pause with Cree. She's like, I'm cool with her, but I'm not really that cool with her, because Sequoia feels like Cree overstepped with her giving her advice at the skating ring. And like we all said, what Cree said was actually like good information, but like that phrase said, right message, wrong messenger. You and her are not friends like that. If you are going to say this stuff, you should have said it in a nicer way. And I feel like Cree doesn't have tact when she speaks to people. And we'll get to that. We then have a scene of Cree and Vanessa hanging out at some cute little shop, and she brings her dog with her. I guess it's supposed to be like a puppy. It looks like a puppy. I was like, is it an emotional support animal? Probably, because she's going through a lot. But I think it's like a new puppy. That puppy gave very much like 2 months old, like 8 weeks old, like fresh out the womb kind of energy. So she sits down, Cree sits down with Vanessa, and they talk, and Cree breaks down crying. And what we find out is that she's dealing with a lot of death in her family. Her grandmother passed away, then her cousin, I guess, unexpectedly passed away, and now her great grandmother is pretty much like she's tired of fighting. I think she said her grandma has cancer. Her great grandmother has cancer. And it's just a lot. And she was like, she's this close to going to therapy. And I said, if you don't get your ass into therapy now, like, therapy is a privilege. I will say that, because I know not everyone has the means and the funds to pay to go to therapy. So I'm not saying that like it's so easy to go to therapy, but it's just like, if you're crying every day, and she said that she's been crying every day, then you need to speak to somebody, because that's not normal. It's not normal to cry every day. And as someone who that has happened to, the pain around this area and in your head is excruciating. So I'm like, that's not normal behavior. Go to therapy. But Vanessa invites her to Brianna's Gauntlet. They show up to the event. I guess Brianna rented out a club, because it gave very much that. We see TT, Sequoia, Aaliyah, Vanessa, and Cree. And they come in. We find out that Vanessa ends up leaving early because her nanny got the virus. Which I was like, why is she around the child? But I guess she just tested positive for it. So she was gonna, like, she couldn't drink because they were taking shots of like different things, like hot sauce, there was liquor shots, but it was supposed to be something fun to do. They all sit down at the table, and they said whoever is diagonally across from you is your partner. So TT and Aaliyah were paired up, and then Sequoia and Cree were paired up. Cree already came in with with a bad vibe. They were trying to play games, and she kind of had a stank attitude where she didn't really want to participate. And then when Vanessa left, she was kind of like she should have left with Vanessa. And I said you should have if you was going to keep this energy or have this energy. So they're playing the games where it's like you had to take a shot if you like if the saying that or if the question that they were asking was true about you. So it was like, have you ever been in people's business? And everybody took a shot like of other people's family business except Cree. But Cree, I was like, why are you not playing the game? Like, if you're here, participate. Cree has this air of us like of having a superiority complex amongst these group of girls, especially when it comes to like Brianna, Sequoia, and TT. And it's like, who are you? A nobody. Like, if we gonna keep it all the way 100, we didn't even know you existed until you came on here and was like, Uncle Luke is my daddy. But you give off that energy, and it's giving off lackey as well, that like you only have this energy because you around the Simmons, and that's very unbecoming. Because like I've said previously, I really liked Cree when she first stepped up on the scene. I thought she was really gonna be like, oh, she gonna be cool. And throughout the duration of the seasons, she just proves more and more that she is very unlikable as the season continues. And I was like, you did yourself a disservice getting on here. So they end up breaking away the tables and they all start discussing. And Sequoia brings up how like her and her mom still aren't talking, but that's my mom. But I just wish she would do things the right way. And they're like, what do you mean? So we find out that Tiny and JoJo are still married. They haven't got a divorce, but they're separated. And I guess Sequoia feels like you shouldn't be moving on completely until you sign the dotted line on the documents. But it seems like they've already been moving on. They just need to get paperwork signed and sealed so they can really move on with their lives. So then Cree jumps in and she was like, well, can you really be mad at your mom when you had a child out of wedlock? And everyone looked at her like, what? It didn't make sense to me. I was like, that's not even what we're talking about. Because I was like, I get it. You like Sequoia is upset with her mom, but saying like that didn't make sense to me. It just didn't make sense to me. So then Sequoia's like, Cree, don't play. I will flip this table on you, girl. So then Brianna tries to chime in and be like, okay, like, girl, what's the problem? Like, do you want to be here? And Cree was like, well, I got a reservation at 6. I was like, ooh, you nasty. You's a nasty broad. And then they start going like kind of going tit for tat. Aaliyah's just being quiet. Then TT tries to jump in and was like, what's the energy? And then Cree is like, girl, are we good? I don't even know why you trying to jump in. And Brianna even told TT, like, girl, shut up. It's not that deep. Like, just let me handle this. And so then TT kept getting mad, and TT was just like, you always be making slick comments that are offensive, but then when somebody comes back at you, you then go below the belt. Like, what's the thing? And then I think TT also was like, and yes, your presence annoys me. And so then Cree goes back and she was like, well, your leave out annoys me. And everybody at the table was like, ah. And we not gonna lie, she got TT. She got TT because I paused. I said, ooh, girl. Ooh, girl. Ooh, girl. And TT couldn't even like come back because TT's leave out does not match. But I don't even bother the girls that be wearing out they leave out. I don't, because not everyone likes closures or frontals or wigs. So I'm not even gonna go too much on that. So she ends up getting away, what's her name? Cree ends up getting up and like leave. She ends up hitting like a twirl out the door. She was like, keep talking crap about me on social media. Brianna's like, well, why'd you come, you stupid, you stupid bee. And then Cree walked like she was gonna do something. So Brianna's like, what? And then she leaves, and then Sequoia's like, I don't want her to think like we're ganging up on her, because then Aaliyah leaves and they're like, Aaliyah, that's your friend. And Aaliyah's like, I'm cool with both of y'all. Like, don't put me in it. So she goes outside and goes to check up on Cree. And Cree's like, I ain't got time for this. I'm always like, I guess Cree's gonna be the bad guy. So then Brianna comes out and she's like, what's the issue? Because Brianna at first was really trying to talk to her on some like, look, I've been where you are. Everything I said, everyone took the wrong way. It seemed like Brianna really wanted to bridge the gap. Cree's like, well, you got so Brianna's like, can we talk? And Cree's like, well, you got 2 minutes. And then Brianna was like, that's the issue, that energy. And she was like, oh, I mean my Uber. No, Cree, you did that on purpose. And then when she said, you sweeten up real quick. And then she ends up leaving. And then I was glad Brianna said, you know what, if I ever have anything, just know you're not invited. And Cree was like, okay, fine. My thing about Cree is like I said, she was cool in the beginning, but now she's not. She has this superiority complex to certain people on the cast because she's associated with the Simmons. But I keep saying, it's giving off like minion lackey tease, because the truth of the matter is nobody really cares about Vanessa or Angela being on this show. Out of all the Simmons, everyone likes Denise and JoJo because they engage with the cast, especially JoJo. We could be done with Vanessa and Angela, and Vanessa and Angela will always be here because I think Angela is like an EP, but they could get rid of you, especially when a boatload of people don't see it for you. So you're just basically setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That's all. Remember to be regularly authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.